What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot, brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. If you're doing any sort of DFS or sports betting this NFL or NBA season, make sure that is where you're getting it done. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash, looking handsome as always, fellas. Today we're recapping Week 15 of the NFL season. A lot of playoff implications, maybe some MVP implications got switched up today. But before we get into it, how are you guys doing on this beautiful Sunday evening?
My room is very hot. I'm in a very hot room.
I'm in a very
old building. All the heat, I believe, goes to the top. So my living room is probably about 55 degrees, and my upstairs room is about 85 degrees. So I'm baking alive, but for a podcaster, conditions like these are just part of the job, and you learn to battle through them and fight through them, and that's exactly what I'm doing here today. I would just turn my heat off altogether, but we did that one time at my old college house, and we froze the pipes. So I'm probably just going to battle through it.
I think that house was older with worse.
Yes, it was.
Piping.
It was very bad.
Based on the few times that I was there, I was like, they might not be doing the best upkeep here. Not you, but like the landlord.
Yeah.
So.
I'm doing bad, Blaiden. I'm honestly traumatized. Today was a traumatizing day. It's traumatizing to be a sports fan, honestly.
It is.
You said no Christmas.
Christmas is canceled. I mean, Tom goes down today.
Mm-hmm.
Watson goes down today.
Yep.
Parsons, ACL.
Yeah.
Kraft is already gone. Jenkins is already gone. I mean, the season is just up in smoke, right? It's going to be a what if for the rest of history. And I mean, since the Packers won the Super Bowl in 2011, it's just been some of the most gut-wrenching Decembers and Januaries that you can possibly imagine. Fumbled onside kicks, blowing leads to the 49ers however many times. Aaron Ripkowski's fumble in Atlanta. Losing to Tom Brady at Lambeau, I think that was, right? The one year, like he's in the conference and then he gets to the Super Bowl just as many times as like Rodgers and Breeze or whatever, selling the Jair Alexander 3 interception game, right? And I'm the most spoiled, lucky fan in the entire world, right? As a Packers fan, like, and
you're
truly,
definitely the most spoiled fan on this podcast.
And it's true. And it's true. And just the reality of the situation is the season ends in heartbreak 99% of the time. Right. And it just sucks. It just sucks. And it makes you wonder, it makes you pissed off. It makes you sad. It makes you feel like you got to get even. It just is a shitty feeling when like shit like this happens. Dude, I should be able to just kill one Broncos fan in Denver tonight, but I can't because that's against the rules or whatever.
Against the rules.
It's 15 yards or something.
I know. I should just be able to just at least a punch right to the gut to make me feel better, but I'm not allowed. And here's the truth. Like, I'm not allowed and no one cares. Like LaFleur is right when he says nobody feels bad for us, because I guess that's the redeeming quality about sports, is because it ends so horrifically for 99% of teams every year, right? One team gets to be happy at the end. That's it. You get to watch your rivals lose and you get to watch other people lose. And everybody goes through it the same way that you do eventually. I mean, sure, Micah Parsons goes down. That sucks. Poor Packers. Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL today. Joe Burrow might retire from Cincinnati, and they scored 0 points in 5-degree weather, right, with this core.
Wow, I have to say, we're not going to talk about that game because it was a terrible game. But if you went to that game and you're a Cincinnati fan, shout out to you. It was cold and miserable outside, and that was a pathetic performance by
Joe
Cincinnati.
Burrow is not having fun. If he wasn't having fun before, he's not today. I mean, and if you're happy today, it's all coming for you next week, right? Like, or the week after that. Broncos fans, like, it might be coming for you. It might be coming for you. Like, it just is how it goes. So you just have to roll with it and celebrate the moral victories, honestly, over the course of the season. I think, I'm just going to get right into this Packer game and everything about it, honestly, because we're just here right now.
You want to? Yeah, let's just do it. Why not?
The Packers are in evaluation mode, I think, the rest of the year. I just don't think that this defense is anything more than a one-man army this year, right. I think is what got exposed. Last week I was complaining about how I want our draft class to weigh 2,000 pounds because Ben Johnson just ran it. And Parsons can only do so much when Clark is gone and Wyatt is out for the season, right? And it's Warren Brinson and Carl Brooks trying to slip double teams, and it's just failing, right? Like, there needs to be more beef in the trenches, and there's not. So running the ball is a way to beat the Packers. They're really reliant on rotating Evan Williams down into the box and hoping he makes a splash play, which he does a lot of the time. But with all those single high safeties, they cannot play too high and defend the run. And with all that single high, it just sets up Carrington, Valentine, and Nixon to get exposed. And Valentine was an absolute disaster today. Hobbs has been disastrous at other points in the season. Nixon was disastrous today too. It really is just big plays from Parsons that made this defense feel scary, and now they're gone. And I really think that they're going to be in total shootouts the rest of the way. I think this defense is just going to fall flat on its face without them, and they did today. And it's going to be up to Jordan Love and Matthew Golden and whoever else is worth their salt on offense to try to win shootouts until eventually the season comes to the end, whether that be in the playoffs in the first 2 rounds or the regular season at this point. And hopefully that builds some chemistry with Golden. Hopefully, maybe there's some flashes out of some offensive linemen, again, Parsons will be back at some point next year and probably still be very, very good. And I don't think the Packers window is closed. They were the youngest team in the league coming into today. And if they can be healthier, I do think that they're a scary team eventually in this Jordan Love era. But man, some stuff has passed. Going into this year, it was all, Rodgers was this age when he won the Super Bowl. Brett Favre was this age when he won the Super Bowl. Jordan Love, it's looking really good. And now it's over, and now you're behind schedule. And now that mirage is gone, and it's kind of uncharted territory now, I think. So it's a tough day. It's a tough day in Packer Nation, and we better be able to find the bright spot in it, because again, nobody really feels bad for us.
Yeah, the good news is you still control your own destiny the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Great. We're the 7 seed hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, but as long as you don't lose out, you'll probably make it,
But it's the making it now means very little because they're too injured.
Yes.
It would be one thing if they just lost, but you can't be down. Watson with the season that he was starting.
Watson, I think, is going to come back too. It sounds like Watson's not going to be out for the year, but as far as Tom, I haven't heard anything.
You can't be down one of the 10 most valuable players in football, and you can't be down Tucker Kraft as well. It's just too hard to overcome. Yeah.
And who knows about Tom and Jenkins, right? Those are your 2 best linemen, your best weapon, your best defensive player, your other best defensive lineman. They just don't have the horses anymore. They don't have the horses anymore.
And it's frustrating because the Packers fully healthy, especially this year, even if they weren't perfect, absolutely a serious contender, absolutely could win the Super Bowl. It was not a stretch or they need to get hot. Obviously they have to get hot on some level, but they were in basically the top tier. So yeah, it's pretty disappointing to watch that happen for sure.
Yeah, they were always going to have to overcome, I think, a bit of an overrated defense. I think coming into this game, it's all oh my gosh, the Packers just, their defense is crazy, but their defense really wasn't better than it was last year without Parsons. He covered slippage in other areas. They were always going to have to overcome that. But
yeah, it's been pretty average statistically, it looks like this year. 14th in EPA per play, and They're 11th in success rate, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
63% of their defensive series ended in first downs, which ranked 15th in the league. Like they just weren't really on the level of the Broncos and the Texans and the Browns, because the Browns have Denzel
that was
Ward,
the expectation,
and the Broncos have Patrick Surtain and Nick Bonito, and the Texans have Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter and Jalen Petrie and Derek Stingley. You know, like it's just not that level of defense. We don't have Reek Woolen, Witherspoon, and Leonard Williams, and you know, it's just thin. It just was.
You don't have all three levels secure.
Yeah.
And the three best, four best, five best defenses in the league, whatever you want to say, they all have all three levels down packed.
Yeah, really, it's the corners and the defensive tackles. I still think this defense can turn around quick with some signings and draft picks there, but easier said than done.
Sure.
How'd you feel about the Broncos?
Number 1 seed in the AFC.
I mean, the number one story out of this game was the night that Bo Nix had 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Didn't get sacked even through 3 quarters with Micah Parsons out there, right? And he's just fast, man. He's big, he's quick, he's twitchy, and I think he's really played well since that Las Vegas game in Denver, where he was really embarrassing. And I said, you know, he might not be a startable option if his pocket presence is this bad, honestly, was my thought leaving that game. And then he played the Chiefs, and then he's played the Raiders again. He's played the Packers now, and probably forgetting it. Maybe I'm probably forgetting a game in there. And I think he's really moved me over these last few weeks. I think the sack avoidance is so real, and I think the elasticity and the flexibility to make plays, even if he's a little more panicked than he should be, even if his feet aren't set the way they should be, even if he's falling away the way in a way he maybe shouldn't be, like he's just so comfortable just throwing while swinging his body around that, like, he's able to make plays from these kind of compromised positions. And he had an RPO against the Chiefs that I rewatched and was like, man, that play is kind of special, because it's just an RPO, but like he's oriented the complete wrong direction to throw a screen to the backside. And then he's just able to like twist after the mesh point and just contort his body like Gumby to get it back there. And I just feel like that stood out to me so many times today, where it's like, this guy can just really release things from any platform, like no matter how fast he's going, no matter how much pressure he's under. I mean, he really deked Parsons on the play where Parsons tore his ACL. Like Parsons won clean. He thought Nix was rolling out. Then all of a sudden Nix slams the brakes, immediately throws to Mims in the flat. And like, yeah, it's not the craziest throw in the world to check down, but like to do it under that kind of pressure from Parsons and to cancel that boot to the point where he, you know, tears his shit. Like he broke his ankles, man. Like he really did. So, and then of course the Packers just can't tackle. You can't tackle Mims. It was the Packers shot themselves in the fucking foot today too. Like Bo played good, but like, holy cow, did the Packers shoot themselves in the foot?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like Sutton and Franklin were open every time he dropped it back, and every single time he threw it up, I'm like, oh, they're coming down with it. Like he would always hit him in stride like every single time. But those guys were also just open every single play.
No resistance in press, no resistance in cover 3, like opening their hips and then coming back to the ball. Like,
yeah, and if you let, like, that's Troy Franklin's specialty. If you can't get him off the line, like if you can't get hands on him at the line of scrimmage or like deroute him at all, like he's gonna cook you down the field every single play.
He might drop it or Bo might miss it. Like that's kind of what happened. Happening earlier in the season.
He'll be 5 yards screaming open for
right,
sure.
But that's not what's happened recently either. Is like Nix isn't missing those deep shots as frequently, and Franklin isn't dropping those. Like they just kind of look scary.
Yeah,
they just kind of look scary. Now Bo did have a bunch of dropped interceptions today too. I do think. I can't say it without sounding like just a sore ass fucking loser, but in another world, like Nix could have had a bunch of turnovers. I will say that. I think he he looked really good from the pocket after Parsons went out, and before Parsons went out, he looked really good outside of structure. But in the clutch moments, he really got away with some throws. And I don't care how salty I sound, it is the truth of the matter. He is still a bit of a loose cannon. I still don't think his arm is up there with the best of the very best, even though his elasticity is. And I do want to see him go through a playoff run, because it's been they don't have the hardest schedule either. And this Packers defense, with the injury and just kind of with everything going on, maybe isn't quite checking the box it looked like before the game, if that makes sense. So I still want to see, I still don't fully trust him, and I still think the Broncos are gettable. But I mean, do you feel better about anybody in the AFC right now? I mean, they've got a pretty clear shot at the 1 seed.
I don't know. I mean, the Patriots game we'll talk about here in a little bit. Yeah, I guess maybe Buffalo then feels good getting that one, even though it was wonky and you still have concerns. So I guess we'll get to it. If you guys are ready, I want to move on to a different game. I think the other one that had just crazy impact, which is Kansas City losing to the Chargers, officially being eliminated, and Mahomes tearing his ACL.
Insane. I mean, just, again, we've talked about this all year. If you had told me at the beginning of the season that the Chiefs would miss the playoffs entirely, I would have laughed in your face. I'm like, look, they might struggle a little bit, but it's the Chiefs. So, like, they'll figure it out probably. No.
The ability for stuff like this to happen is very specifically what makes the NFL, I think, the most popular league in North America. Truly. Yeah. I mean, not the Mahomes ACL. Maybe if he's healthy, they drive down.
Hate watching Mahomes is what makes the NFL the most popular sport in North America.
But like the ability for, I mean, I don't know, were they the Super Bowl favorite or one of them? Just miss the playoffs. Right. And the Eagles aren't exactly like, I guess they're in pretty good position in the division right now because the Cowboys lost. But even the Eagles like aren't a guarantee a lot of years with the record that they have if Dallas was getting it together a little bit more. So I think, yeah, I remember distinctly being like, it kind of feels like we're rolling back into the NFL season, and a lot of things like haven't had like crazy major movement outside of a couple of teams. Never mind, man, it feels like every team is entirely different, actually. But I don't know. I left this game not feeling like super awesome about either squad. I mean, the Chargers were very clearly working hard to try to protect Herbert and not put him in harm's way, as in It was a lot of running if you can possibly run, and only throwing on like must throw downs early in the game. But then they would get in situations where like Kansas City would line up 7 people on the line like they're about to cover zero blitz. And it was the play that Herbert had the interception on, and it didn't actually end up being like a 7-out blitz. A couple of guys blitzed for a second, got the offensive lineman to commit, and then drop back into coverage. But regardless, it's still 5 going at you, and it's still tough for the offensive line to deal with that. And there is just nobody running anywhere short of the sticks whatsoever. Everybody is like 15 yards down the field, completely off the screen. I think if your main goal, even if it's 3rd and 11, and yeah, you want to get a first shot, I think if your main goal is we got to protect Herbert behind this terrible offensive line, and he's already banged up and he's the most important player on the team, you can't put him in situations like that. I mean, there was just nowhere for him to go. There was just no option there. And he ended up getting crushed and throwing a terrible interception. It was hilarious because, like, you know, these 2 guys drive back into these hook curls, and there's just nobody there for them. There's just they're dropping back into like literally nothing. And it so happens that Herbert gets hit, and it's an interception because they were sitting there. But like it was just completely bizarre to watch that play unfold. And I just feel like for a lot of the Chargers, you know, sometimes it can be a little tough to tell on game day, but you go back and watch, and it's like, man, this is a Greg Roman offense with Greg Roman route spacing, and Herbert holds the ball for a long time because of that. It's not to say that the wide receivers are perfect. I mean, you're obviously banged up. You're without Johnston. Trey Harris had a really good play down the sideline and then got like beat really badly on like a slant he was trying to get. So that is what it is. And Allen, kind of is what he is. And I think McConkey, like his lack of physicality has cost him at some points this year and different stuff like that. But man, it just feels like, you'll get in the red zone or something and then everybody just sits down right where his zone is. And it's like, well, Herbert, go do something. And don't get me wrong, like part of the reason why you have a guy like Justin Herbert is for him to go do something, go be great and create something out of nowhere. But like, dang, man, if you're trying to keep him healthy, it's not even necessarily about just handing the ball off every play. And you can get value out of him not handing the ball off and still keep him safe as long as you give him real quick options. But it just feels like the Chargers have a hard time. They have a hard time giving him true dropbacks where he also has quick options if he needs them. And when you're playing a defense like the Chiefs, that isn't perfect, but likes to blitz and gets creative, it's just unacceptable. And it's not a good way to go about trying to win a game. Now you won, of course, 16-13. And
you did.
Shout out to their defense, which was just out there killing dudes today. Tony Jefferson got ejected. He had a couple of just massive hits. Derwin James had a couple of just massive hits. Watching them fly around. I just feel like Kansas City, I mean, I don't know how long it'll take Mahomes to be back from an ACL. I assume he'll be back at some point next year, even though this is pretty late in the season. And recovery timetables on this type of stuff, I feel like, are only trending better and better. From when we were kids to now.
Giving me hope is Watson, right? And Christian Watson tore his ACL around this time last year. He's been back playing at a high level for a while.
Yeah.
So
I feel like the sort of breaking point of that trend was Brady the year he tore his ACL and then came back in like 6 months. People were like, "Oh my, what in the world? That's a 12-month recovery injury. How'd you do that?" And
Peterson too, I remember, came back after that, missing that year and was like
really
one MVP. That was like pretty.
Yep.
And now it's not quite as shocking. It's like an ACL is like a season ender, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like then something you spend a year working back from it through the next season. So I don't know.
What are your guys' most traumatic sports injuries?
Like that can happen?
Like, no, that you've personally, like, oh my God, this person's out for this season. Like,
I mean, Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb has had a couple of
because it's not just an ACL. He tears like every ligament in his knee and has like structural damage. And it's like, those are just so difficult. It's like, it's why like when he ended up being so explosive in Cleveland, people are like so shocked. Like that's why he fell in the draft. It was like, dude, like, there's no way you're going to be yourself again after that. And then he was the best running back in football for like 3 years before he did it again.
I would say for me, it's either, I mean, Cam's shoulder, obviously.
Yeah.
But that one you didn't quite understand at the time how bad
Yes, I'm talking like ACL type moment. Like,
Marcus Lattimore for the Gamecocks got messed up really bad, and he was never the same. And he was a really good player. I think he messed up his knee like particularly terribly, I remember. And he still got drafted in like the 3rd round. I don't think he ever really got that. I don't know if he ever played in the NFL, really. So that was a huge bummer because he was considered a great guy. I would say maybe this one doesn't count. Kuechly's last concussion.
Yeah,
I was like, oh man. And he was like pretty upset on the field and like, oh man, that's gonna be it. And then it was.
Yeah, I remember that.
I would say that one. Yeah. That one was bad.
That one was bad. Micah immediately is at the top of the list for me. Other ones are there was the Rodgers collarbone. That was pretty bad. Yep. Jordy tore his ACL or Achilles, one of those two in 2015 in the preseason, just running around. And he was coming off a 1,500 yard, 13 touchdown season where he was 2nd team all pro. So like losing him then really was bad. And now Parsons. Those are definitely my top 3. Charles Woodson got hurt in the Super Bowl. I think he broke his collarbone in the Super Bowl. That was pretty bad too. Give him this. Give him
Broken
the,
collarbones hurt, man.
I bet.
That's what I've heard.
That shit sucks. I can tell you
I
that. Matt, I'm really glad you brought up the fact that the Chargers could do a good job of protecting Herbert without just being like run, shitty route combo. Right? Like that they
could do a better job than just like not dropping him back. They're just trying to limit that. And I mean, like on some level, it's not a terrible idea, but what gets Herbert in more danger than anything is not giving him options to get rid of the ball quickly.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
if there's a blitz
if you get into 3rd and 11 and you're like, well, now we have to throw and we have to throw past the sticks. And so we're just going to have everyone sit at the sticks. That is what's the defense going to do? They're going to pin their ears back and they're going to come after you. Right? That is the most obvious get your quarterback into trouble situation, as much as it also is like an obvious passing situation because the defense knows what's coming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's really hard
on 1st down and set up an easy 2nd down run. Like there's other ways you can.
Well, you're going to get yourself into 3rd and longs and unfavorable positions. If it was as easy as just not being in 3rd and long ever, it's like, well, then every team would just do that all the time. Yeah. And it's not necessarily that everybody sat at the sticks on that play. It's that nobody was getting anything quick. Like there was no idea, like maybe we could throw before the sticks and get after the catch or whatever. Like even maybe it's like, dude, if Herbert gets pressured quickly and has to throw short and we don't get it, I'd rather that than lock him into like, getting hit.
Right.
And trying to throw something that takes longer to develop. Regardless, I just think in general, the Herbert,
Joe Lombardi, Joe Lombardi with all of his Hank concepts and Eckler checkdowns is like, I bet you miss me now.
I mean, I don't know. I just think the Greg Roman offensive play calling stuff, it's like we already know the issues with that. We've already seen it be an issue with a great quarterback, and I think it's a little frustrating that we're seeing that play out again with another top 5 QB. Yeah. So that is what it is. And then obviously you have Kansas City. I mean, they've got issues across the board. It feels like you can point to dang near everybody. The offensive line is a mess right now through and through. Yeah. The running backs generally, Hunt has had some good games that have made things all right a little bit, but for a team that relies so heavily on play action and building off of that, especially for a lot of deep shots, if you can't effectively run the ball, it's really, really killing you in terms of your ability to attack downfield on top of that. I don't know. Even the receivers, Worthy is not all bad, but he clearly just has play strength issues that are probably never going to go away. Rice feels kind of limited as a short RPO type of guy. Yeah. And he's good within that role. And Kelsey is he's still got the good connection with Mahomes and all that type of stuff, but there just really is not a game-changing offensive player outside of Mahomes. And it feels like this is not a forward-thinking offense at this point in terms of their play calling. They've been very stagnant for a while, and it feels like they live a lot off of Mahomes kind of making something happen or being really good with his pocket presence and scrambling out on a 3rd down. Even last year, it worked and got him to the Super Bowl. Fair enough. Just being the sort of success rate, we're going to barely grind forward. But then you obviously your results last year outperformed how good you actually were when they went 11-0 in 1-score games. I mean, Mahomes is good, but he's not making guys miss field goals and shit like that. At some point, you're just catching the breaks or whatever. And in the moment, it's hard to feel like that, but it certainly feels like that now. And then you trade away Tooney or whatever, and it just feels like you kind of run back the same thing. It's like, well, this offensive line is going to be downgraded. This run game is going to be even worse. You don't really make a big play at running back. And the receivers just have not been at the level that really make a huge difference. It just feels like they don't play strong through and through, and they've had the drop issues in games like that. And it's like, man, it's not as bad as it once was for sure, but it's it's not making up for the gap right now.
They're not
you
getting the breaks, and they. It's not even necessarily. I think they need like a big game changer on offense as much as they just need some other way to change the pace. Like Matt, like you said, they didn't go out and get a running back right at the trade deadline. It was one thing we were like, dude, if they could get a back other than Kareem Hunt in there, we'd feel pretty strong about this offense. Or if they had any way to stretch the field vertically. We thought Rice might be that, Worthy might be that, but they haven't really been able to make defenses like scared of that so far.
Yeah, and I think I don't think it's impossible to imagine Mahomes tearing his ACL this year specifically with just how much he's run the football and how much contact he's taken. Like,
Yep.
He's not quite their leading rusher, but he's third in QB rush yards going into this game with 407. It's him and Justin Herbert and Josh Allen. And you combine to that all the scrambling he does where he throws falling down or getting hit or whatever. It's just too much. It's too much for one man to take on, honestly. Like Mahomes' entire season just was the team, I think. And maybe he'll never be the same. I mean, there's a lot about the Chiefs that's up in the air right now. I mean, is this dynasty over? I think it certainly could be. I think it's a strong maybe because, I mean, the Patriots had two kind of dynasties. You know what I mean? Like they had that one in the early 2000s and they had one in the 2010s. And it took them getting Gronk for that second part of it. It took them.
And Belichick, you know, I understand we're kind of living through the modern era of Bill and it affects your opinion on him and his legacy. And honestly, like, I'm not even going to get on you for that. But for what it's worth, during the Patriots dynasty, Belichick was really good at replacing defensive talent. They did always have a great defense. And I don't think they did a great job
of corners like right before they got bad. He did it every single time.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think he did a great job like with the weapons all the time necessarily. Obviously, towards the end of 2019, I just remember it particularly being a disaster. But yeah, they had Gronk, they had Hernandez at one point, and he was a really good player. I mean, they
traded a second rounder for Randy Moss. Is Randy Moss walking through those doors?
Well, Moss was like first sort of dynasty. I guess it depends.
But
like
he was kind of in between, right? Like there was kind of this period where they didn't win any rings, but they lost to the Giants twice in the Super Bowl. And I guess that was the period in between the dynasties. They were still winning like a ton of games, right? Like that's
between 2001 and we'll say 2021, or even we'll just say 2019. From 2001 to 2019, they didn't win the AFC East twice. They came in second, and then after that they went third, second.
If we think about like the Patriots post and pre ACL, which is like not really how the Patriots dynasty went. It was a chunk of Super Bowl wins, and then they were very good for a long time and just didn't happen to win any. And then they won one in 2014 and then won another chunk or whatever. But Brady didn't have Moss after 2009. He was on the team and then got dealt, or he got cut. Like it was basically only a couple of seasons that he really had him, and it was Gronk for a long time and one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, Gronk is obviously the biggest addition.
The point is that the Patriots had a second wind dynasty that sort of connected the whole thing. In terms of just like actually winning rings, which is the ultimate goal. Making Super Bowls means nothing to Kansas City at this point. Sorry. But they had a coach or a GM who could refresh the defensive talent consistently, was very, very good at it. And they hit on some Hall of Famers and some great players. I mean, Edelman was a hit. Gronk obviously was a hit. And overall, like the offensive talent around Brady recovered. The question is, can Kansas City do that? And I think it's fair to sit here and say, well, they can, but the fact that the talent in KC is like not great right now is not an awesome sign. No. The fact that things have gotten to this point says a lot already, because the Patriots, for what it was worth, were they weren't this bad. They didn't have this big an issue or whatever.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of dynasties that just kind of ended at this point. I mean, Troy Aikman, he didn't win a Super Bowl after age 30. He only played in a handful of playoff games. Terry Bradshaw, he only played in one playoff game after age 31, right? Like, the only real longevity dynasties, I think, are the 49ers and the Patriots. And the 49ers did it partially because they went from Montana to Steve Young, like that was a big part of it. And with Mahomes, I mean, he's won 3 rings already. He's an all-time great quarterback. Maybe he's better than Troy Aikman. Maybe he's better than Terry Bradshaw, right? That's what makes you feel like he can, do what those guys couldn't. But think about peak Rodgers. He won 1 ring and it was over. Think about peak Breeze. I mean, he won 1 ring at age 31 and that was it. Yeah. Peyton won 1 on the Colts, right? Like, being an all-time great quarterback is not enough. It's not enough. Josh Allen is a top 10 peak ever and has 0 thus far. Lamar has 0. Like, it's so hard to climb that mountain just because as time goes on, I mean, they're going to have some good draft picks here. Maybe they're the worst team in the league next year and they get Jeremiah Smith or something. That would be sick. But there's just no guarantee that Mahomes' career the rest of the way doesn't look more like Rodgers' post-age 30 or like Breeze's post-age 30 or whatever. Like, it's just as likely or more likely to go that way than the Brady's way. So
sure,
it's a huge
I don't think there's
toss-up.
any doubt about that. I mean, if you were saying, are you going to bet against Kansas City winning another 3? It's like, yeah, dude. I mean, that's a really, really high bar to hit.
Yeah,
and there's even concerns.
You say
like,
it well.
You can draft well and not get Chris Jones or not get Tyreek Hill. You know
or not
what I'm
get
saying?
Gronk, yeah.
Or not get Gronk or whoever. It's like those are really high-end Hall of Fame players. Those are, best offensive player in the league or best defensive player of the league type of guys, shooting for 2,000 yards in a single season type of dudes. I mean, it's not easy to find them. So, yeah, I mean, I think it would be too far to have like a strong take about how the next 5 years is going to go for Kansas City, but it is bad that they have a losing record right now with Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, I'm worried about Kansas City.
Long term.
And it's fair to be. Do you want to stay in the AFC here, talk about Buffalo and New England?
Yes, I do.
Let's hit it.
All right, man. Josh Allen, how many times has he come back and beaten some of the top quarterbacks in the NFL this year? Feels like he's done it a lot. Bills are sitting here at 10-4. We've been talking about Stafford. We've been talking about May. We've been talking about Jonathan Taylor as the MVP all year. Haven't really thrown Allen in that conversation. At what point do we say that he's in there?
I think he's in there. I think Stafford's got a stranglehold on it after today.
Sure.
But I think if he were to sell a big game, there's still a couple games left.
I don't think May played a particularly bad game.
I don't think May played a particularly bad game, but I just don't know if he could have afforded this one when the schedule is so weak. I do think that he kind of had to ace a lot of these. Not that he's out of it, but I think Allen has become a very valid shout. Because honestly, like, look at what the Packers are without Micah Parsons. That's kind of a roster that Josh Allen is working.
Imagine there was no Micah Parsons ever. Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, early in this game, Buffalo couldn't bother May at all, and then May could scramble out and get whatever. He had a couple of early rushing touchdowns and whatnot, and the Patriots ran the ball really well for a lot of this game. Of course, Buffalo's rushing defense looked weak, and maybe it's offset a little bit by like a tricky Travion Henderson broke outside on something we thought we had bottled up, and that's 70 yards right there. But still, I mean, even before that play, they probably had 150 rushing yards at half or whatnot. And they were doing a good job against Allen. It felt like they knew that ultimately the Bills scheme is built around trying to mitigate the receiver issue right now.
Yes.
These guys are just not consistent and are not trustworthy. So what you got to do is you got to run the ball. You got to get heavy because you might as well, because putting these receivers out here is like, I mean,
Brandon
you're just
Cooks.
not getting as much benefit. Yeah, it's Brandon Cooks or Gabe Davis. Who are we going to put out there? So you might as well get big and then run the ball heavy and then build the play action off of that. And that's how we'll get them open. And if that doesn't work, well, at least when we do our regular dropbacks, like Allen can get outside of the pocket and go scramble drill mode. And either he can run and defenses have to respect that, or something will come open or something won't come open, but Allen will still throw a touchdown anyway. So it's all great. But the Patriots did a really good job.
Which bodes well for his MVP argument.
Right. Right. Yeah, to be fair, like the run game in Buffalo is good. Like the getting heavy stuff for them, it works as much as it does for any other like team trying to do this with their great quarterback or whatnot. But the Patriots did a good job like sending blitzes that kept Allen contained and made it tough for him to get outside of the pocket, or when he tried to step up, there were guys there, confuse the offensive line. And that forced some bad plays or some sacks that ended drives. And all of a sudden you're staring, a 17-point lead or a 17-point deficit in the face. But when
21,
was it 21 at half?
Or not at half, but like it was 21 in the second quarter.
Yeah. So it was pretty bleak. But I thought they did a good job, establishing the play action and making it tougher for the Patriots to really key off. And then, of course, with play action, a lot of time you can just get Allen rolling out automatically before any sort of stunt or whatever has a chance to hit. They did another good job of, the Patriots tried to send somebody sort of out wide at the tackle or whatever to keep everything boxed in. And they had Allen already pre-called on like a draw that hit him really bad and sort of punished him for that. And just in general, I thought they ended up responding really well. And the Patriots, when they're straight up just rushing you with 4, the pressure is really not that great. And once you kept them honest about that stuff and sort of got past their tricks, then Allen was able to really go out there and cook, and he did, and they ended up winning the game.
Yeah, I think
he's just so good in these shootouts, man. Like against Kansas City, he was able to hang in. The Tampa game, where, I mean, it was blow for blow for blow, and then they just pull away, and I think they scored 40 in that one. And then, of course, there's the Ravens one where they looked like they were out. They were down, 15, and they end up pulling it out. And I don't know what it is with Allen and this stamina that he has, but it just feels like he's like a boxer, and he can just outlast you. He's like Mayweather, man. He just hangs in, and he just delivers the knockout blow.
Yeah, he puts a lot of pressure on you, and the Patriots front four is just not good enough. I mean, Barmore can create disruption, but every time Barmore is off the field and it's Duran out there or whoever, like, they're just getting blown off the ball. Like, I think Milton Williams is coming back at some point this season, so I think the Patriots still are hanging around the contender tier, certainly.
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately they're ahead of schedule.
But if Milton wasn't coming back, I would say like they're going to run into the same issues as the Packers and a lot of other teams where they just don't have the roster, the pass rush, the anything, because they're ahead of schedule, and the schedule has let them build up this huge lead, right, and stack up all these wins. But at the end of the day, like, I watch a game like this and it's like, man, they're just not quite ready there yet. Like, the receivers, when Joe Burrow goes deep on this team, the Bills, like, it's Maxwell Hairston on T. Higgins, and it's a mismatch. In this game, it's Mac Hollins on Trey White, and Trey White gets the better of them on these contested throws. Like, there needs to be a real serious weapon where we think of, like, with Allen and Diggs or Mahomes and Kelsey or Hill or whoever. Like, there needs to be a real running mate for May that's super serious. Yeah. And the offensive line can't have Lowe on it. It needs to be Campbell. And today just felt like the Bills have their issues on defense, and Henderson was really able to exploit those. The team speed, the recognition, it just isn't quite there. They got him on some trick plays early, and that long run where Henderson wound back kind of felt like a trick play. Like, it wasn't, but it did, reverse field and force everybody to, like, kind of contain in a spot that they didn't expect, and they just weren't there. They weren't fast enough to catch up.
PCR, baby.
Yeah. Hairston had a brutal game defending the run at corner. Like, the linebackers had a brutal time defending any kind of check down. Like, the Bills defense has their own problems, and May is very good. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, like, it was just too fair of a fight against kind of a Bills defense that we've proven can be picked on. And in really crucial moments at the end of the game, I think like they were just locked up. I mean, there was a play at the end where like the route concepts downfield were just kind of atrocious. Like,
are you talking about the one where people are saying it should have been pass interference?
Maybe it was the fourth down that got batted, right? It was the game losing play, and it was 2 stacks, and then they tried to kind of run interference off the line of scrimmage with the point man, and those guys just got pressed back into the guy trying to run like the choice route or whatever. And it was just like a total mess spatially. Maybe May should have taken the corner route to Booty. There's probably your press beater there, but he didn't find it. And I didn't think he was clutch at the end. Like, there just needs to be more seasoning. There needs to be more to this roster. It is a hedged schedule, especially on offense, and you can tell today.
Yeah.
And it's injured on defense. But man, there was another play that I want to highlight. Allen like spun around in the pocket. Like, he literally just pirouetted in the red zone, like going nowhere, not really dodging anybody, just like no one's open downfield. I got to do something, but they've contained me. So he ended up just like taking a lap in the pocket and then getting reoriented. Quarterbacks should not be able to do that. And when he was just doing that, like just messing around in the pocket, eventually somebody drew a holding downfield, and what ended up being a throwaway ended up being a first down because of that. It's like, you cannot let him just literally just spin in a fucking circle, like for no reason at all. Not to make anybody miss just because he didn't have anybody. Like, oh, it should be a coverage sack, right? Instead, he's like just literally just taking a lap.
It's like, maybe I need a second pair of eyes on this.
Yes, literally. Literally, that's what it was. It's like, well, let's try to shake the magic 8 ball and see what else comes up this time. I didn't like that answer. Like, no, that has to be a coverage sack, and did not go down. Barmore is a really good player, but nobody else.
Yeah. The Patriots are in a good spot, though. I mean, they're ahead of schedule. They're a good team this year, which I think makes them attractive for potential star gets in the off season. You know, I'd be calling every team that could potentially a big name wide receiver. Like, I'm calling about Jefferson. Absolutely.
Click.
You know, click maybe. But I feel like they've got the assets too, because this still would have been like a rebuilding year. Like, we were talking like before the season about how they're still a year away. They could,
of course, they've got the assets. I mean, the Packers just traded for Parsons, and it feels like the Patriots are definitely the team that could make that move, and then all of a sudden we feel completely different about them next year. No doubt about it. I think they're in a good spot.
I don't think anybody.
They're also supposed to be winning the Super Bowl this year. Like, make no mistake about it. They've won 11 games.
The expectations have changed as they hit 11-2 for sure, and this was a disappointing.
And this was a
loss.
Damper of those expectations.
Yeah,
I mean, they were up 21-0. They were up 21. At that point, you're thinking, "Holy cow, this thing is real!" And then it's a collapse, and it's a collapse because of the inexperience on offense, I think, from May included. I know he didn't throw a pick today, but I just don't think he was. He threw a pick?
He did.
Oh yeah, he did. He did to that contested one. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
No time.
But I thought he took some sacks he didn't need to take.
Well,
Thought he missed some reads in the second half. I just don't think he was attacking the middle of the field enough, and I think some of these blitzes, some pressures, some of this cover 2 with the outsides bracketed when the middle of the field was open kind of eluded him. Just thought he needed a little bit more seasoning. Tackle duo wasn't totally great. Receivers, not a ton of separation or contested ability. Like, defense, a lot wrong.
Yeah.
It definitely dampened my expectations for them this second half in a big way.
Can't turn the ball over in 4 out of 5 drives in the second half in what is effectively a playoff game. So
not quite win or go home, but
not win or go home,
but a big playoff implication.
It's a playoff implication game. The stakes are high.
I see what you're saying.
This puts the Bills back in contention to take the division if the records line up here.
Probably costs you the 1 seed. Definitely, yeah.
So
kind of a playoff game, a big regular season,
a very big regular season game.
And yes, I do think Allen is alive in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, I think he should be.
Speaking of MVP conversations, a certain 44-year-old quarterback made his return today in the Colts versus Seahawks game.
Did.
Wow, man, it was crazy to see him out there. It really was.
You ever get flashbacks to 2015 Peyton Manning?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, this is the worst arm that I've seen a starting quarterback have since then. Truly. And that's no disrespect to Phillip Rivers. I thought he played a very honorable game, all things considered. I was a little surprised how respectful the Seahawks defense was of him to not check it down to Amir Abdullah like every opportunity that they were going to give. I mean, there was a lot of like too high. And it's like, wow, I mean, this is a guy that I really question how far down the field he could get it on that last throw that he had that was intercepted. I mean, that was like his absolute maximum, like Hail Mary distance. And it was 30 yards, if that. I mean, like it was
he
35
put
yards.
Everything into that throw, and it like
this was a pretty
fluttered.
crazy thing for the Colts to do, truly. And it looked as crazy as it sounded on paper. It wasn't like, well, is there something that we don't know? And like, no, it kind of just is what it.
No, he's just like
what it was built.
That's played football before, and like he's played with Steichen as a coach, and so like he knows the system. Like we get it, but like, dude, his arm sucks. His arm really sucks.
But he did a good job. Like, I think he was only sacked one time in this game, which was nice. He did a good job getting the ball out. He did a good job checking it down whenever there was an opportunity to, knowing that like, okay, that's gonna be better than whatever I can do holding on. And even on throws towards the sideline, I thought he did a really good job placing those on the shoulder and letting his guys work back to him. Like, he clearly was making do with what he had to work with, like as much as you could possibly expect. Yeah. But
he knew he didn't have the arm to get it there, so he was getting those out early.
Yeah,
like a lot of them,
he was getting stuff out crazy early. But like, even though I feel like the announcers were talking about him like he's still got a little bit left on, like, I mean, he couldn't drive the ball at all. So it was really, really tough. And
he had a play where he slipped in his drop back, and watching him like try to get up off the knee, I'm like, oh dude, he is so old. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little.
It was crazy. I do think he looked closer to 2020 Rivers than he did to like you and me out there.
That's saying
nothing, dude.
That's saying like nothing, man. That's just brutal.
Well, I just didn't know how bad it was gonna be. Like I said on TikTok, I was like, look, here's what he looked like the last time he was out there. He kind of knew how to play his game. He knew kind of how to shuffle around the pocket to the ideal spot that he had available to him. I think obviously he gets rid of the ball like crazy early, but I feel like there's absolutely no pressure in his face. He'll take some time looking somebody off. He'll take some time like letting the check down open up a little bit more. I was like, okay, the bar is pretty low for me, but he's just as aggressive and as mobile as like a fat, washed old guy could possibly be in an NFL game, because his brain just kind of knows what is scary to the defense. You know what I mean? Like, the body is not willing, but the brain knows like what can inconvenience the defense here. And I still saw a little bit of that from him, where it's like, okay, he can't be aggressive. He physically cannot be aggressive, but the brain is as aggressive as it kind of can be in a way that I respect. And
oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the throws that he had to hang outside even were definitely like risky, in the sense that, how long they take to get there. And it took a lot of not him getting the ball out early in the sense of like where the pass rush was, but in the sense of where the route was, I think is more what we mean. So it was crazy to watch. It really was.
I thought Seattle.
Yeah, this was a tough game for Seattle, where it just felt like Darnold was holding the ball a long time and not trusting himself to go out there and be super aggressive and drive the ball down the field. And it worked out okay. And I guess they ended up putting together enough drives to kick a whole heck of a lot of field goals or whatnot, and they won this thing. But honestly, like 6 field goals to beat 44-year-old Phillip Rivers is one of the most dishonorable wins I've ever seen in my lifetime, if I'm being real with you. No disrespect to Seattle, but like, let's be honest.
Sweat a lock is not what I had in mind for.
And it was a bummer. It was a bummer that Seattle won this one, that Rivers didn't get the drive down and get the field goal. Because you saw that and you're like, dude, this is perfect. 2 minutes and 30 seconds is a long time with the new kickoff rules. They barely have to go anywhere to get this thing in field goal range and just to win it and get out of here.
Yeah.
And if you don't ever win another one and this is it, like, that's kind of fine. And it completes the story. And instead they leave a little bit too much time.
I was kind of surprised they took the like deep shot, quote unquote, as early as they did. I mean, it was, so they had 18 seconds on first down.
I was talking about their second to last drive.
Oh, their second to last drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
they had 18 seconds. I don't know what they were going to do. They had to take one deep shot to try to get it to like the 50, if you can call that a deep shot, and then try like a monster field goal. I don't have a game plan. You were just kind of limited by the fact that...
Well, they just had 3 timeouts, though. They had 3 timeouts. Or they had 2, because they took one to ice. Did they? No, they didn't.
I thought they only had 1 left. Regardless.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about the Seahawks right now. I think this was a good showing from Latu. Has been a good showing from Latu all year. You really want to see, this is a defense, though, I think, for Seattle that you had higher expectations for. Matt, you mentioned they were kind of in their too high shell a lot. I don't know why they didn't just, like, it sounds like stupid to say, like, why didn't they just do this? But, like, if I'm playing a 44-year-old quarterback, I'm blitzing the hell out of him all game long. Like, Jim Schwartz, do you know what Jim Schwartz would have done to him? Which, like, maybe you can't say that because he would have just gotten the ball out quicker. But
I think that's the thing. I think that's just what they do. The Seahawks, Mike McDonald, he plays 2 high shells. He plays nickel with him and worry. Like, that just is kind of his MO. And I think they're not going to they're going to tackle the guy. I mean, Phillip Rivers is going to check it down every so often. He's not going to be able to really layer these zone throws anymore. Like, we can just rally and tackle and play our game.
I want to get some contact on. I feel like he didn't get hit.
I don't think he's going to get it. I mean, there's nothing. They were missing both their tackles, and Phillip Rivers cannot move. So, like, you can get pressure rushing 4.
Sure.
Blitzing is just going to. If you start to not play your game, you're probably more susceptible to get beat than not.
I guess that's fair.
So, I just think, like, if he's going to be throwing. If he's going to be throwing quick the whole game, you don't want him to be able to throw quick and score a touchdown, which is what can happen if you blitz and Alec Pierce gets loose or something. If he's going to throw quick, we want somebody there to tackle him. So that's the purpose of the.
I guess my thought is just like, he hasn't played football in 5 years. What's something he hasn't seen? Probably,
probably 2 high safety shells with a ton of rotation and craziness. Like,
I guess that's true. Yeah, it's probably
kind of been the story of the last 5 years.
Show him some invert 2s with some invert Tampa with the safety coming down.
Oh yeah.
That might be
some non-traditional Tampas is not as common then in 2005 as it is now. So.
In 2005, you're probably
I don't think. Maybe it was. I guess that was kind of when the Tampa 2 was around. So maybe it was, but I think that was just Tampa, not non-traditional.
Just Tampa. Nothing too crazy. But before we get into the sort of NFC portion of the episode, we kind of focused on the AFC for a while there. Gotta talk about our sponsor for today's episode, GLD Jewelry. And I'm not exaggerating when I say I've been obsessed with this stuff lately. Buying men's jewelry used to be such a nightmare, especially around the holidays. Everything felt cheap or insanely overpriced, but GLD actually figured it out. They've got tons of quality in the stuff. The weight, the clasp, the stone setting, it just hits different when you put it on and instantly elevates any fit. What separates GLD is they make real gold pieces that are built to last without breaking the bank. Every stone is hand set. The shine is on another tier. It's durable, waterproof, and sweatproof. So when I wear it, I'm not worrying about a thing. And they've got everything too. Chains, pendants, rings, earrings, fully iced out watches, and with over 2 million customers and 50,000 5-star reviews, it's easy to see why. You've seen GLD on guys like Justin Bieber, Micah Parsons, Kevin Durant, A$AP Rocky. This brand is everywhere. And since it's football season, they even have official NFL team pendants. So if your team actually showed up in week 15, you can rep them properly. Right now, GLD is making holiday shopping easy. New customers get 50% off using our code STAYHOT at GLD.com. That's 50% off with code STAYHOT at GLD.com. And after you check out, they'll ask you somewhere at the bottom where you heard them, and make sure you tell them that Stay Hot sent you. Matt, you were watching the Carolina Panthers take on Tyler Shuck and the New Orleans Saints. How'd that go?
Well, not good. They blew a 10-point lead and lost, as I'm sure you saw.
I did.
In pretty pathetic fashion when they had a great opportunity to take control of the division. Now they probably have to beat Tampa both times, which is super disappointing. I don't know. I think Shuck looked good in this game. I think there were a lot of times where the Panthers kind of went for a kill shot, cover zero. We're going to blitz you because we don't trust our pass rush 100% to go and get anything done on its own. And the Saints did a good job just beating Carolina when they tried that. I mean, there was one on the final drive, the final drive that the Saints had, where it was like we got him in a 2nd and 10 and the clock had stopped and there was 57 seconds. We had 2 timeouts. And it's like, okay, we can, if we hit them here and back them up, they'll just be worried about getting a punt off and all that. And they go for it. Instead, they let 30 yards on a screen. That gives New Orleans life instead of trying to just say, hey, let's make sure that they don't get into field goal range or whatever. Or like another one, they got New Orleans into a 3rd and long by the goal line, and then Olave just beats Mike Jackson on like a slant or whatever. And Mike Jackson made a great effort to try to get the ball and just couldn't quite get there, and that is what it is. But I just think for Carolina, like in a lot of this game, like towards the end, their zones were so soft. I mean, it was just pitch and catch, the touchdown drive. I don't know if you guys saw this, but oh my God, I've just never seen guys get open on these. They just over the middle, every single play over and over and over and over. It was one of the easiest, chunk drives I've ever seen, truly honest to God. And that's not to take anything away from New Orleans has been playing better football with Shuck in there and they should be excited about him or whatever. But holy cow, I haven't seen the Panthers look that bad defensively on a drive maybe all year. And it's disappointing because I wanted my takeaway from this game as they were up is that Bryce was playing really nicely. I thought there were a ton of situations he got in where he was under pressure. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be one of those moments where someone gets a hand on him and goes down and it's GG. And it didn't happen. I mean, he did a great job getting outside of the pocket and making throws or stepping up and running and keeping the Panthers alive. There's multiple times he kept Carolina alive on a drive on a huge run and whatnot. And he hit that great deep ball to Coker. I mean, it was a pass down the sideline. It's not the most difficult pass to possibly make, but it's really sick when they go for touchdowns and they're really well placed. So I was pretty happy overall there, but Panthers couldn't run the ball well, and I think they maybe stuck to that a little bit too much. And they lost one that they should have gotten. They're still very much a team that's a work in progress. And their defense, I still think, is very much a couple of guys and a whole lot of scratching their head. The pass rush has to be better in its own right. And also, the slide into the flop from Shuck at the end was weak sauce, dude. I hated that so much. And it was one of those borderline where they had 12 seconds and the Saints were pretty far out. It would have been a monster field goal, which they could reasonably hit. And they decide with 12 seconds, we're going to go QB draw and just be real quick and spike it and get back up. But of course, Ransom's coming downhill to try to make a tackle and stop him. And then as he's launching himself for the tackle, Shuck slides. And it's just one of those ones where it's man, in real time, I know what they saw, but it's really, really next to impossible to pull yourself up out of those sometimes. And then Shuck realized how the hit looked and I think played it up a little bit and they got the flags thrown. And then it was, I think not even 50 yards. for the field goal, and the dude nailed it, and it probably would have been good from $1 million, and it probably doesn't even matter. I'm like, God damn, man.
Matt,
That
do
was a
you
bummer.
blame Theo at all for locking the Panthers in the Stay Hot locks here?
Jesus, I'm not gonna win. What am I doing locking these dog shit teams?
What the hell were you doing locking the Panthers, bro?
You locked the Cowboys and the Texans and the Panthers.
Jesus.
Well,
Got one.
You got one. Doesn't count for much in Stay Hot locks, but God damn it. Better than going 0 for 3, hitting the reverse parlay. I don't know, man. I mean, but it's like, of course, this is going to be a letdown game from Carolina. You could just, the second that Tampa lost that game so beautifully from like out of nowhere, and they 3rd and 28, and they get it and win, they fumble the ball. Every single Tampa Bay defensive player is there, and they don't come up with it. Like, you didn't know, but you spiritually could feel like this is setting up an unbelievably frustrating Carolina loss.
That was a crazy game on Thursday night. That really was.
Your boy Kyle Pitts went nuts.
My boy Kyle Pitts did go nuts.
If you played against Kyle Pitts in fantasy, I'm sorry.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with him in free agency. I really want him to leave Atlanta, I think, because I really think that I think he's kind of a receiver in a way that Drake London kind of steps on his toes. And he was just off to such a good start to his career. 1,000 yards as a rookie.
I don't think Drake London would be stepping on his toes if their quarterback was good.
That could be true. But I don't know. I kind of want a fresh situation for Kyle Pitts. Situation.
I think that's fair.
Because I think
Patriots looks pretty good. Kansas City would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think both of those places would be cool. He is not quite the Megatron that I envisioned. There's just a couple plays, even in that game when he had 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, I wish he didn't bobble that touchdown. I wish he didn't trip when he was running.
Yeah.
Like, he's just not quite as coordinated as I envisioned at his peak. And when he's not the world's most insane blocker, I don't think he's bad, but he's just not the world's greatest blocker. No, yeah. And it is a little bit like, man, what is his value ever going to peak at? But man, there really is something there. He just eats up so much space with his strides. I think he's really good off the line of scrimmage, super smart using his hands to probe and push off and create a little bit of separation for himself. He is a unicorn in a lot of ways. And I think there are some impressive nuances in his game. And I think there's some areas where he falls a little bit short. Like, he's always just going to be this total mystery box of like what you're going to kind of get from him game to game and year to year, I feel like. But boy, it compels me, though. It compels me.
Yeah, and there's certainly better situations in Atlanta that you could be in. So
if they keep
it was an awesome game.
If they keep him, if they tag him, I mean, Atlanta's really, if they feel like a good team kind of waiting in the wings. I mean, Bijan Robinson is a fucking sicko.
Bijan Robinson is nuts, man. Some of the runs that he had in this game, it's like he's just playing at a different speed than everybody else. And it's not just in terms of like literally his straight line speed, but like the cuts that he can make just means that he's on a totally different playing field than a lot of these dudes. And he's got more things available to him than dang near any running back. So yeah, I completely agree.
The Falcons their running backs have forced a little bit more than 7 missed tackles this year. They're at 41, and broken tackles, they're at 38, which also leads the league. So they just are impossible to tackle. Their guard duo is just fucking sick. And so is Newsel, their center. Like, their guard center guard combination is really cool. You've got Pitts maybe, and you've got London for sure. You've got the rookie duo of Pierce and Walker, who are a funny little puzzle to put together, but They really did well against the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
That neither of them have crazy bend, which just always makes them a little bit, I think, less than.
It was expensive to go get these guys.
It was an expensive edge duo without Ben, but man, they're so good at so many little things. Like they're good in contain, they're good pushing the pocket. They're just very synced up. They're good. There's Watts, there's Bates. The corner room got absolutely fucking abused, so that might need to be overhauled. But man, it just feels like the Falcons have a lot of talent if they can stop getting all the penalties that they did, and if they could.
If their quarterbacks weren't the ghost of Kirk Cousins.
Well, Kirk Cousins kind of cooked in this game.
Yeah, fine game, but like we know what you are to some extent.
A lot
and
of
Michael
balls
Penix Jr.
for sure.
We know
he's a
what
plus Phillip Rivers.
Yes, I think that's a good way of putting it. And then they've got Michael Penix Jr. who's on IR right now, but it's just like. Imagine what this offense would look like if their quarterback was really good, or like
for sure.
Even like if there was a guy who like even could get into top 10 range, like if they had Baker Mayfield at quarterback, dude, I'd feel way better about that.
Cousins outplayed him pretty bad, I thought.
Okay, look, I get your disdain for Baker Mayfield. I've been there too, but also. He's playing on a really bad shoulder right now. And that
I don't know, man. I hear all these excuses about how banged up Baker is and how bad his shoulder is. Like, to me, the thing that stood out between Kirk and Baker in this game was the poise. Like,
yeah.
And that has nothing to do with shoulder.
I completely agree. I mean, and it's always a thing. Nah,
no, because it's always been the case.
It's not. Baker's choppiness when he gets under pressure is not the damn shoulder. He is literally always like this. And part of the reason why people like Baker, and I'm not even the biggest negative Baker guy, right? Like he was balling at the start of the year.
All right.
Okay, yeah, that's Theo. I'm at worst, I'm 2, and I don't even think I'm that. The thing with Baker is like because he gets like sort of that choppy, frantic, like in that sort of like sped up mode. When he makes something happen, it really looks like he's being like a 99 percentile gamer, and sometimes he is. At the start of the season, he was balling out. He was hitting these awesome throws to Igbuka and whatever. And when he turns
versus
4 times,
49ers,
he hits some cool scrambles, and he's very good at like picking his spots to really put his body on the line and like go and push for that extra first down. And it's like, man, when he turns 3 times in the pocket and then hits something, it's like, yeah, that's more sick than just sliding over and hitting something or whatever. But absolutely, there are times when it is bad and it is too much, and he leans on that entirely. And then I can agree that the shoulder could be affecting because accuracy.
For sure. He's fallen off in such a dramatic way that it definitely wouldn't surprise me.
This is what happened in Cleveland too.
And this is what happened in Cleveland. But it also like that's what I was thinking is like, okay, so he's having these horrible accuracies where he's just missing everything. And it's like, okay, well, nothing's gonna work if you're like that. And the poise didn't even matter at that point. But I feel like it was an issue for him before the shoulder.
It was 100% an issue for him week 1 of this season when he played Atlanta.
I think
he has games this year, 19 for 34, 14 for 30, 9 for 19, like 28 of 50, 22 of 40, 17 of 32, 17 of 32. That's week 1 of this season. His accuracy was absolutely all over the place. Like, the accuracy combined with the fact that you just don't know what he's going to do versus pressure. Well, he's not going to fade away. He's not going to fade away. He's not going to hit any kind of like the back foot rainbow or whatever it is. Like that's not what's going to happen. He's going to step up and throw, which can have its results. He's going to step up to run. He's going to do something like that, but he might swirl in the pocket. Like there's a lot of things he might do. But I do think like, they all involve a lot of stepping forward and hip rotation. I think that's needed for him. And it might be just he turtles. There were times in that game where he just like saw pressure coming and then just kind of tucked and hoped that the pressure would like wash over him and he could just like continue to go forward on his path. But like, man, you got to keep your eyes up sometimes. Like I understand there's some pressure here, but if the linebackers blitz, that dagger route is going to be there, or that check down is going to have nobody around it. And he never really hangs in and finds those things. He hangs in and it's the Baker show. And I've just always felt like that's one of the earliest Stay Hot podcast takes is Theo calling Baker overrated. And it's always been because
you and Colin Cowherd, man, you'll always agree on that.
Well, he thinks he's the Baker personality that doesn't like the behavior thing. Like to me,
you don't like his film, and that's okay.
I don't like that. I don't know what he's going to do under pressure. I mean, it is really like he thinks he's Josh Allen and he's not Josh Allen, and you just never know how that's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I thought he was playing good football through the first 6 weeks. I mean, MVP shouts are one thing and whatever, but
I thought so too. I just think week one
since
and
then
Philly were bad games.
I think since then it's fair to say that he has been playing like particularly bad from an accuracy standpoint.
Yes.
Easily the worst that he's been since he's gotten to Tampa. No question about it. Probably the worst that he's played outside of like maybe like Carolina or when he had the messed up shoulder in Cleveland, and even then. But it feels like those issues started before he messed up the shoulder, if I'm getting my timeline right. It wasn't like he was playing awesome and then the shoulder and then there was some horrible drop off. It's like he was already kind of like the MVP stuff had already faded and then he screwed up the shoulder not that long ago, and now it's like continuing to be an issue. It's hard to know exactly what's going on without being Baker or whatnot, and he can play better than this, but like absolutely, like he's been on a very bad stretch of games recently.
Since week 7 he's not a top 32 quarterback by EPA per play.
That's 32. Crazy. And also the offense has been super banged up. They can't stay healthy and whatnot, and that's definitely not easy. So
no,
it's a whole bunch of stuff.
But I don't know how much longer they can stick with him. Like, I just don't think he's earned a contract on top of this one. We'll see what happens at the playoffs, I guess. He's still got some time to turn it around, because if he can turn it around and he started the season well,
if he can play good against the Carolina Panthers, like he's cool. He's totally fine. Genuinely.
Yeah.
And,
the Buccaneers just have to win one of those games against the Panthers and then also win against the Dolphins, and they're in the playoffs.
So they have to go 2-1. 2-1 and they're a lock. 1-2 and they need the Panthers to lose. They're the non-Tampa game. Or 1-2. 1-2 they can do, but the win has to be against Carolina, and then they need Carolina. 2-1 they're a lock. 1-2
2-1 they're a lock. 1-1 they need out. That's exactly the way to put it.
Or potentially they're screwed depending on which games they lose. So it's really all really clean and really simple.
Yeah, but as long as if they win two of their next 3, they're in for sure.
I don't know. We'll save the Mayfield should he be the quarterback stuff for the offseason. I don't think I'm quite there with him. He's had a bad stretch, but he had a good season last year overall, and he had a really good start to this year. And again, how many
you would
QBs
hate to have happen if you're Tampa would be to do the Cleveland thing, move off of him, and then you are in QB purgatory, worst quarterback in the NFL for 5 years in sequence.
It depends on the price, really. I mean, because I agree. I agree with the philosophy. You don't want to be out there. You think you want to be looking for a brand new quarterback. You don't want to be looking for a quarterback. You don't want to be doing that. But it all depends on price. And
you could do so much worse than Baker Mayfield. I promise you. I promise you could do so much worse.
And you can do worse than Baker for like a long time. You can do it for ages. But we have one more game we got to get to.
Sunday Night Football, baby. Vikings and Cowboys. 9. He went crazy. Did he go crazy, guys?
Yeah, he did. He did kind of go crazy.
He kind of went crazy.
He had, I think, what did he have from the EPA box scores? It was an elite game. 15 total points, 0.54 EPA per play. That's great. Those are fantastic numbers. And I thought he made some really strong throws. I think I still feel like this with him, where he does need to get his hips through. He needs to get his hips around, kind of like the Baker thing, where it's like on the first touchdown rolling left. It took a lot of exerted energy to get his hips around after rolling left and then through, and the ball was still kind of underthrown to Naylor, but he caught it. And overall, like, good throw, good read.
Yeah. We talked about this on the Mendoza.
There's a bit of a strain there with him that lets me know that he's not like, you know, even if he turns his career around like Josh Allen, there's just not a Josh Allen type of ceiling. I saw that with him, but QBs can really stabilize. I mean, look at where Bo Nix was week 1 versus where he is this week, right? Or look at where Goff was year 1, worst quarterback ever, versus where he is now. Like, even the worst, you don't have to point to Troy Aikman or Josh Allen or Peyton Manning to say, like, hey, there's nowhere to go but up. Our bad struggling quarterback can improve, right?
Yeah.
It can. There's actually probably most quarterbacks in the world. Jordan Love, his first few starts was pretty bad, and then it got good. It just, there's a lot of stabilization and normalization.
Bryce Young year 2. Oh
Bryce
my
Young
God.
year 2. Sure.
Right. I mean, I think that's the most recent, like, McCarthy level young quarterback disaster. It was only for a couple of games, and he came back, and it's like, things are better. There's still issues, but things are better. Yeah.
We're still waiting on Richardson.
Right.
We are. Well, he needs to play. JJ McCarthy's probably already almost at as many career games as.
That's crazy, dude. That's so insane. Yeah, I don't know. Where do you see kind of the future for the Vikings at this point? Obviously, you're feeling a little bit better about McCarthy at the trajectory that he's going. So you might not be looking at quarterback this offseason. Where's your focus?
I think they made a really good point on the broadcast tonight about Justin Jefferson and the coverages that he sees and how he's constantly doubled and how he said, like, I see coverages in game that I never saw on film. I think about what he's like in the playoffs, and the Vikings haven't had a lot of playoff success with him, and he hasn't had a lot of playoff success, but it's because, like, he really will see just the wildest brackets imaginable. Like, if he's tight to the line of scrimmage, they'll chip him with a D end and then bracket him and then do whatever crazy rotation or trail coverage with the safety on top that they need to do to take him away. And it's got to be really, really ass to be a quarterback with the greatest receiver of all time at your disposal, maybe, and just constantly be seeing those confusing looks. And it's just so hard to get him the ball. In these defenses are good at what they do, right? And for Jefferson to start to come to life a little bit here tonight and hopefully over the rest of the season, like, it really should be easy to throw to him. Like, it really should be, no matter what the look is, just like put it up for Jefferson. And I think if they build that connection a little bit more and McCarthy doesn't look like the absolute worst starter ever, and he looks like, you know, a stable middle of the pack quarterback like he did tonight, I don't think there's an easier option, or I don't think there's a path of least resistance. I don't really think there's a reason, unless Joe Burrow becomes available to you somehow, some way, to move off of him. I think if it continues to go this way, you probably stick with him, just like the Panthers stuck by Bryce Young.
Yeah. Jefferson had 2 drops, or at least 2 major drops that I saw. Like, I think the one when he was wide open, McCarthy put it pretty high, and it kind of grazed off the tops of his hands.
That was a miss.
It was definitely a miss, but I'm like, if you're the best receiver in the world,
there's been a lot of that with Jefferson.
I kind of think that has to be a catch for you. I get it's like as hard a catch as it could possibly be for it being wide open, but I still think it needs to be a catch for you. Like, to me, that
one was pretty tough, but I do think there have been a lot of those scenarios.
There was one in the end zone.
Man, I wish
absolutely was a drop. Absolutely was a drop. That one was perfect. So there's that, and I think it's just they just need to get on the same page a little bit.
Yeah.
Like if it's you know, a combination of, like, sometimes he's bracketed and sometimes it's a drop, but yeah, those kind of things just kind of got to get ironed out. Cowboys, dude, their defense not looking too hot right now, even with Williams. And and they really even couldn't get like the passing game going. It felt like they had a little bit of juice early, but eventually, like they had a play early where they had a post route by Pickens, which caught the attention of the safety, and then CD was able to come underneath it and be open on the crosser. But it felt like those plays really disappeared, especially in the second half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it can't be a one-man. You can't be a one-man army. Can't be a one-man army. And this one I got to watch more of because I was checking up some other games.
Yeah.
So
I have to say the same is true for me, unfortunately.
That's fair.
I
That's fair.
apologize, everybody.
That's fair. I don't know.
I was reliving the Packers nightmare. I don't know why I did that to myself.
Why did
that is crazy.
That's like
if the Panthers have a bad game, I'm never watching that again.
That's psychotic, Theo.
Because
the Browns got like belt to ass today by the Bears, and I'm just like, yeah, dude, that's it. Yeah, I'm cool. Like,
I don't know. I wanted to make a Knicks video, and I felt like
I guess that's fair.
I felt like I owed that. I had to get it off my own.
That's
chest.
that's very honorable.
That is.
It is honorable. I started even with the play that Parsons tore his ACL on. Just got to get it out of my system. I was so sick, you guys. Like I was feeling like I want to take a baseball bat to all the things in my house. You know what I mean? Like that kind of sports watching experience.
So it could be so much worse.
I had to take a walk to Trader Joe's. I had to get some brownies and treat myself to make me feel a little bit better. I had to get some fresh air.
I'm mad at sports ball. I have to get a treat now.
Truly.
No, but think about how bad
I do the same shit. I'm not gonna.
He could be like an alcoholic. Like
I could be an alcoholic. Well, that's what concerns me. I'm like, bro, this was such a tough game. Like, I just feel for so many people at Wisconsin. Like, this was one of those games where it's like, the way this makes me feel is like kind of dangerous because I feel like I have a decent handle on my emotions.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to lose my grip. Like the mask is starting to slip. And I'm starting to feel some like primal violent, like
you definitely do have like a weird sort of like you're very invested in sports, but you don't seem to like get too high or too low about it a lot of the time.
Matt and I know can get a little.
I'm not like that at all. Like even a little bit, dude. I'm freaking out.
Dude, I watched this game. My friend Kevin, I always talk about him. I watch games. He's a Broncos fan. I was watching with him, and it was everything I could do to after the Parsons injury, and he's like celebrating like whatever fucking happened after that. I'm like,
yeah. I
cannot wait until you leave. Like, I'm very sorry, but I thought this was going to be fun, and it has become very much not fun. And then I was feeling so upset about it that I was like, I just need to watch it again. I need to just see the missed opportunities again. I need to see what Bo Nix did good and what he didn't do good. Like, I thought I saw some dropped interceptions in there. Am I hating? Am I not hating? Like, and then I was like, okay. It did happen that way. We really shot ourselves in the foot so bad. Like he juked out Parsons and he tore his ACL. Like that fucking sucks. Like, yeah, it happened. I had to see it again to become at peace with it. Like it became a figment of my imagination immediately, like a bad dream. And then taking some notes on it and writing it down again made me feel better. I thought it was going to be safe because I thought 9 maybe would just like kind of play bad and the Cowboys would win. And then I probably should have paid more attention to the Vikings. But like, honestly, the Vikings winning is the last thing I wanted to fucking see.
Yeah. Well, and they're already eliminated for this. It's not like you're in danger of them like taking your.
I don't care. Like I said at the beginning, the thing that makes this sport and all the horrible performances worth it, I feel like, is just watching it happen to somebody else. You get to exact some sort of revenge.
Okay, I'll give you something. I don't know if it's what you want. Brandon Aubrey missed 2 huge field goals in this game. Best kicker in the sport, right? I mean, how many games do we say where he's I don't think he's missed 2 field goals all year. And he missed 2 in like critical need to have it to keep you within this game. And it's, I mean, they lost by 8 here. If he makes those, they don't need like a touchdown at the end. They need,
it's
just like or they score a touchdown on the drive before. Like it just makes the comeback a little bit easier. So yeah, that was very tough for them. There was a couple of there was the Colts game was a very special teams, 107% of the game moment, and this game felt like a big special teams game as well. Turpin had a nice return in this one, and Miles Price was getting at it for the Vikings, but shout out special teams, 99 at least % of the game.
Yep.
But I think that's it for this episode of Stay Hot. Make sure you check out the Patreon. Theo and I just did a breakdown and film review. It's 2 parts of Fernando Mendoza. So go check out both of those on the Stay Hot Patreon if you haven't already. It's a great place to be, I've heard. That's at least what they're saying in the Stay Hot group chat. But until next time, as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Hot to our favorite fellas there that listen to Stay Hot, we will catch you on the flippity flop.